There we go.
Well, just while we're waiting for everyone to join, I'll just share my screen. So we are good to go when you are happy. And bear with me. Uh,
Right.
and this should go. There we go. So I'm hoping that's full screen for everybody.
It is for me.
Fantastic. And when you're ready, Nigel, I can pass the screen over to yourself. I'll stop sharing here, then you can share your screen to show everybody
Yeah.
the process through Rentman.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, well, I think we might as well begin. 2 minutes is, we don't want too long a lag at the beginning of the recording. So, oh, there's a question and answer already. Uh, oh, there you are, Rachel. Okay, I'm just going to promote you to a panelist as well. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you, Nigel.
Okay.
I think Dave is sharing his screen, so we're fine.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh, everybody, let me introduce Rachel. Rachel's in charge of, correct if I'm wrong, marketing within Rsign. And she will be, she's been in the background as we've been preparing this for you. So anyway, over to you, Dave, if you'd like to walk us through
Yeah,
your spiel.
fantastic. My spiel. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your time today, and for those who are joining on the recording. We'll be taking questions as we run through this webinar today. But of course, if you're on the recording and you need to reach out to us separately, our details will be at the end of the call, or end of the recording, I should say, and then we can take it from there. Just some quick introductions to kick off. Nigel, I'm sure you're all fully aware of. Everyone I speak to at Rentman is always aware of the good work Nigel has done for many years looking after you guys, but you might not be as familiar with myself. My name's David Roberts. I'm Executive Director over at our post. And one of the products I look after here is Rsign, which is the e-signature platform that has been integrated with Rentman for probably the best part of 4 or 5 years now. And previously, it was one of our other products, Rmail, which has an e-signature element built into it, but also focuses on encrypted email communication and legal proof of delivery. And it's something I'll probably touch on later on, because in regard to some of the legislation changes in your industry, it probably makes it more relevant than it was a couple of years ago. But yeah, our sign's been integrated as a partner for the best part of 5 years. DocuSign, I believe, was in there first, but I heard a lot of complaints from the customers of Rentman, which usually came down to price and customer service. So Nigel very kindly began to work with us to bring us in, see what we could do to help you guys. And what we're going to be talking about here is why lettings and property management business has been switching to e-sign. Probably fairly self-explanatory, so forgive me for insulting your intelligence too much as we run through those sections, and how our sign works within Rentman. Nigel will be kind enough to take you through that process. Some of you may be familiar with it already. I know there's a couple of new sign-ups who are on this session today. I think Amelia is one of those I spoke to a couple of days back who was joining the session. Then we'll touch on some of the key benefits and differentiators, pricing, and then if there's any questions, and hopefully there is, we can take those at that point. So just to kick off here, just forgive me, just going to got a box popping up I need to move. So why lettings and property management business I've been switching to e-sign? Well, we can run through everything that's on the slide here, and I don't want to be too slide heavy because I know it bores everyone to tears when we're running through this and people just read exactly what's on there. But there's a couple of important reasons why e-signatures become not just more relevant, not just in your industry, but across the board with all industries. First of all, I always come to is the fast and efficient reason. We've all moved into properties, whether that's buying them, whether that's rental. agreements, and it's always a case of signing multiple documents, either having to attend the office to get these signed, or they post them to you, you sign them, you send them back. It's going to take 2 or 3 days, or you're printing them off and taking photographs of them. With e-signatures, it's instant. Once the document is sent out, it'll be with the recipient within a matter of seconds. They can then sign it. You can go along the chain. So maybe you've got multiple rental applicants looking to complete the document, or you have a landlord that needs to complete the document. And as long as everyone is ready to sign, the process can be completed in minutes. If you still need them to come to the office, maybe you've got your own particular reasons for why someone has to come to the office, then they can still come down to see you face to face and sign immediately using e-signatures. But they can sign on smartphones, laptops, tablets, you name it. I always remember the story of one person who was signing their documents via a PlayStation. Don't hear that very often, but it just goes to show that you can sign on anything that's got a screen and an internet connection. Legal validity, forget that word out, validity and protection, really important, because essentially, let's say without the legal element and the compliance to e-signatures, you could just send someone a Word document and get them to type their name onto it and they send it back to you and you can say, well, that's a contract. Well, unfortunately, there's a little bit more to it than that. When you're signing your name onto an e-signature document and you'll be typing your name in it and it appears as a signature, that's really just to let you behind the curtain a bit for aesthetic reasons, because that's what we're used to. And we're used to signing our name onto a document. From a compliance point of view, the reality is that just clicking approve is enough, because that's adding the information into what we call a certificate at the foot of the document. And that's going to be showing you the IP address, the owner of the email account who is interacting with the document, when they've signed it, and then all the other the applicants, landlords, etc., who need to be included on the document are all included on the certificate. And if there's ever an argument of who said what to who and what's being maintained within the agreement and it goes to court, then it does stand up. We need to make sure that we adhere to various compliance legislation, and that's something that we look after on your behalf. Moving on to security and audit trails, very important, and also it slides into what we talk about with legal validity and protection. You need to be able to see who sent the document to who, when it was sent, a full audit trail of maybe they've opened it and decided to decline to sign it. Maybe they've looking to delegate it to another signer for whatever reason. Rsign gives you that full paper trail. Now, I'm not 100% whether that is included within Rentman. I know it's something I was talking to Nigel about last week, where we're looking to include that within the platform, but you can access that information directly through rsign.com. But as I say, that's something we're looking to include on the platform, because essentially what we want to do is you sign up to use Rsign, and the one time that you register your account and then leave the website, ideally, you never need to visit our website ever again. And we want you to be able to do everything through the Rentman platform. But if you're coming across situations where you think, well, I am having to leave the platform to visit Rsign for whatever reason, please let us know. And then we can add that onto the roadmap to ensure that you can do everything you need to do in one location. And the last section we have here is cost effective. Now, we have various plans and licenses that you can choose from. But as a basic rule of thumb, the quotes that you're going to get with the market leaders, I probably don't need to say who they are, but we all know who they are. We are roughly half the price. We have an extra focus on customer service. So I think any of our customers who are on the call today, I'd like to think that perhaps they were able to back us up on that, where they have a problem. You're actually speaking to someone, usually myself, who then will raise a ticket on your behalf, or you have a dedicated account manager who is dealing with you. I know through my jobs previous to working with RPost, when I'm trying to speak to someone at one of the big boys of e-signatures, that there's no one there to speak to me, and I'm just passed through FAQ pages and then waiting days and days for someone to get back to me. That's not the case with ourselves, or I hope that's the experience our customers can have. But if there is ever an issue such as that, we'd love to hear about it. So at this point, I think I've bleated on a little bit about some of the reasons of why you would look to use e-signatures. And we have a couple of other bits and pieces I'll hammer the nail home with momentarily. But at this point, maybe it'd be best to, as I say, that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And I can pass over to you, Nigel, and then you can show everyone how it actually works.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. Now, most of you will have seen a variant of this before. So can I just confirm that everybody can see my screen right now? And we'll look at yes, heads nodding.
I can confirm I can see it here.
Yeah, we do.
Good. Okay. So here's a tenancy waiting to go out. Now, typically, it doesn't have to be, but typically we're talking about the tenancy agreement, and the other documents you need to send are the ones that are usually being e-signed. And so that's what I'll focus on a little today. In Rentman, though, we have here under documents, everybody already has. First of all, we can have a package where we can group together any number of documents that you're going to need. So for instance, when we're onboarding a new tenant, you might want to send out the AST. I know it's about to be replaced, but for our purposes today, it'll do. With a gas certificate, fire safety stuff, electrical certificate, and an EPC. That's what you have to send out to the tenant. We can put all of that into one package here and say, well, we're going to send it to the landlord and the tenant. We can add a cover letter and include it from one of the pre-written documents we've got in Rentman. And when you want to send it, Rentman does all the mail merging for each of the document, attaches the correct gas certificate, the correct EPC certificate, etc., into one envelope that it gets sent off to Rsign. And that's all done with the click of a button. There's nothing more than clicking a button needs to be done. Let me show you. So if I open up this tenancy, we can see everything's ready to go, but we've got no agreement signed. It's telling us here. And over here on the today view, we're seeing documents aren't signed. All you need to do is click here, send documents. We can either choose a package, the new tenant Rsign package, as click Rsign, or just to make things a little bit easier today, I'm just going to go here and choose this particular document. When I do that, I'll switch these off, preview and prompt. When I do that, from here, I'm going to get a question. Well, there's no forwarding address to the tenant, and we do like those. But it wants to know where I'm sending this. Are you sending this Rsign envelope to both tenants and landlords? No, I'm just going to send it to the tenants for now, just to make the signing process a little bit simpler, take one step out of it. Tenants only, yep. And it's doing a mail merge, it's logging into Rsign, it's posting the completed document, the finished document.
The beauties of a live example on a webinar is that this can happen. It's odds law, it does happen.
Yeah. Well, and don't forget, it's crossing the Atlantic. So anyway, that's done. That's all you have to do. You know, it has gone now to the tenant. I should say that an AST or the package goes in a very specific order. It goes first to guarantors, then it goes to the tenant, then it goes to the landlord, and then it comes back to the issuer for an execution date, if you've put an execution date into the document. And as we all know, it has to go in that order because it just has to. We don't want the landlord liable to finding the tenant's alternative documentation if everything's been signed and the previous tenants don't move out. Anyway, if I go over to my email. I should see in a moment. Here it is. I will drag it onto the screen. I think you're seeing it now.
Yes.
Here's my document, view and sign document. You just click. Oh, it's gone to the wrong screen. And here's our AST, and that's where the signature is required. I didn't talk about this earlier because it gets a bit boring, but there are placeholders within the template document where we say this has to be signed here. So this, I click here, sign. I type in my name. It's going to look something like that. I'm going to say OK and finish. Great, it's done. It's been, Leo, it has been signed. That, I think, was, if I go back to my summary, yep, that was to the guarantor. And now it's doing the circle. Here's the next person signing. Finish. And now I think the only one remaining I should add, Rsign will send you, let me just do this, as signatures are being added, Rsign is going to send you little notices saying that this person has signed. It's gone out. Now, as Dave said earlier, we're looking at bringing back a little more information to Rentman so you can watch the progress. You can log into the Rsign website and see the progress, who signed, who hasn't, and where you're waiting. At the moment within Rentman, it just shows you you don't see anything until it all comes back. A little bit of a delay as I now have. Oh, there we go. It's come back to me as executor. And I get to put today's date, the execution date in and finish. Oh, because, yeah, this is an Rsign thing. Because I'm not actually putting my name here, I have to go over here and just say who it is who's doing this signature. Now I can do it. It's been done. And it's now gone around the whole process from guarantor to tenant and back to you for execution. Now, you will be getting emails from Rentman, from Rsign all the way through as people sign it. As I said, you can log into their website and watch its progress. One day soon, you'll be able to pull up, Rentman will have an updated progress as it goes through. But meanwhile, Rentman will be testing. I'm just looking to see if it's running. Yeah, Rentman launches an update every few minutes while there's something outstanding and waits to bring back the completed document. Hasn't found it yet. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got a signed agreement at. So Rentman has brought it back in. Here's our attachment. The agreement has been signed. Here is the finished document now, stamped by Rsign.
And just while we're on this section, Nigel, if you don't mind, if we could scroll all the way down to the bottom of this agreement.
Yeah, I'm just going there now.
Lovely. And this is what I was touching on earlier in regards to legality and compliance. This is your certificate. So this shows who it's been sent to, who the signer is, the IP address location. As we can see here, these are all the same because Nigel's done it all from his seat. But this is what gives you the legal proof in regards to the contract.
And that was good point. And that was automatically brought into Rentman by the timed update. I meant to say earlier, a lot of the documents have space for a witness, and witnesses don't count with e-signing. A legal definition of a witness is somebody who's actually in the room and witnessing somebody else signing. From a legal point of view, correct me if I'm wrong here, Dave, but from a legal point of view, the platform is itself the witness.
There have actually been developments to Rsign within the last 12 months or so where we actually do have the ability to facilitate a witness within the product. So you can choose, and it's there, but of course it's down to the legislation within the industry. So we don't claim to know the ins and outs of every industry that we work with, but let's say, for example, recruitment, they require a witness for some documents, and within the legislation that they have, that's allowed to be signed and then forwarded via email to an owner of an email account or a smartphone with a particular number, which can be tracked back to somebody, and they are able to sign a document. But let's say I think with the purchasing of houses, I don't believe that is accepted. I could be wrong because I was trying to speak to someone at Land Registry fairly recently, and it's something that they are looking at as well. But we are able to do it. But
right.
Whether it's accepted as a form of an acceptable witness signing in your industry, I would have to leave to the expertise of you
I
guys.
did ask a specific question of David Dawn Gibson at Training for Professionals, which is where we get all our contracts and legal advice from. And he was saying, no, the platform counts as a witness, and by the legal definition of a witness, it has to be present in the room. So it has no validity here, and there's no requirement for it. Anyway, well, that was all in. If I now go back to I would have expected well, finally, it's noticed the agreements have been signed. And if I go back to my to-do list, oh, look, there we go, suddenly done. So that all happened automatically, and the frequency with which Rentman checks the Rsign platform for new recent signatures is set by you. I mean, every 15 minutes or every hour is probably ample time. But I should emphasize that you do get emails from Rsign as different people sign it, as it works its way around, and you can always log into the Rsign platform and see its progress from there. I think that's all I wanted to say at the moment, except just to emphasize that all of our documents, and that will include the new right to rent documentation that'll be coming out over the next few months, have the signature place marks already built in. There's nothing you have to do. We just have the option, if you have other documents you want to include, to put landlord signature, tenant signature, execution date, etc., into those documents for you, so that you can send those through eSign. While I'm talking about that, I should just say at any point on practically any screen, if I open up a property, we have this document button up here. So we can send a document from here, and you can choose one of the pre-existing, tenant expiry. Oh, only some of them. Oh, only packages. Sorry, it only wants to send packages from here. So we can create ad hoc packages in Rentman for you to send from this screen that are outside the tenant onboarding process. All right, back to you then, David. Do you want to take the sharing over yourself?
Yes, please. Thank you very much, Nigel. That was very informative. It was also useful for me actually to see, because we have so many integrated partners, and if I had all their systems on my laptop, it would probably burst into flames. So it's nice to see firsthand how seamless the integrations can be. Probably worth mentioning, as Nigel was running through there, in regards to checking back for the document and it taking a couple of minutes to appear on the system. Of course, when you're using Rentman, it's probably very rare that you're going to be sitting there constantly looking to refresh a page to see that the document has appeared. As Nigel said, 50 minutes to an hour, and you can pick how long the checks are done on there. But the chances are you're sending out a document, cracking on with another bit of work, and then coming back to it. Now, he also mentioned about the notifications that we send you via email as the document is being signed on its process. You can also get into the settings and amend those. Perhaps you don't want to, you've got 6 people signing a single document. You don't want an email every single time someone signs it, clogging up your inbox. You can actually go to your settings and turn those off and just be sent a notification when the document is completed rather as it's going on its journey. If you are one of the people that require that setting and you're already a customer of ours, just reach out to your customer success contact, or alternatively me, and I can get those updated for you. So let me just share my screen once more and just bear with me. Apologies. What you can't see is that they put a big massive box in the way on here, so I can't actually see anything. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, now I'm going to be fairly brief on what you can see here, because this is what we've already really touched on. So I'm going to fly through it. In regards to why you should be using Rsign, and to be honest, you could say this for any e-signature service provider. The lack of disruption, because integrated with Rentman, so it's going to make your life a heck of a lot easier, where you're not dragging information into another e-signature service provider and filling in information, dragging in PDFs, applying your signatures each single time. That's all going to be done for you. It's worth mentioning as well that yes, Rentman do have their own stock documents for you to use, but if you have your own documents that you've designed and you wish to utilize, the team at Rentman can bring that into their system, and they can also set it up with the correct tags for the e-signature service to work as well. So we have a lot of customers who are using their own tailored documents. So please reach out to the team and they can help you on that. In regards to some recognition that we've had, we have been named as a global leader in the e-signature industry, beating the likes of DocuSign, beating the likes of Adobe. And the reason for that is the features that we have, the updates that we have in place as well. And the big one that everyone likes is the reduce on cost. Now, we're not just talking about the cost of having an e-signature partner, just the cost, as I said, the day-to-day, if you were sending out documents to be signed. I'm sure there's probably, hopefully not that many of you are utilizing Post for this, but I know for a fact there are some. The cost of stamps are what, £1.20, £1.50. That you got your printing costs, your people costs, and then the person's on the phone saying, Dave, you've sent me over that contract, but my partner's accidentally thrown it in the bin. Can you send it over to me again? So you're doubling your cost up there. With these signatures, you can send it over as many times as you want. We don't charge you every time you resend the same document. We only charge you once. And as I say, we are usually around about half the price of DocuSign. I did see a question from Kate, if I remember correctly, in regards to Adobe. I'd say we can beat Adobe, but I do know in regards to estate agents, they do put some on personal plans, and then which are incredibly cheap. But then once you start using it within 12 months or so, they dramatically increase the cost because you're relying on the technology. So by all means, if you're happy paying with that until they start to turn the heat up on you, continue on that process, and then when they start charging the earth for a document, come give us a call. But of course, it's not integrated with Rentman, so you will be having a lot of time spending setting up those documents. Friendly service. Well, I'm going to say that because I work here, but I know for a fact getting hold of people that are competitors can be slightly complicated. Generally, you'll be dealing with the same people, not re-explaining any problems that you have. So you have a designated account manager, and of course, if there's me who generally looks after a lot of the Rentman customers as well. And we've already talked about audit trails, so I won't go too much into that. This is the IDC report I touched on momentarily in regards to us being named as a global leader in the e-signature industry. It's actually down as our post on here. That's the name of the organization. Rsign being one of our e-signature products, but of course we have e-signatures rolled into our mail, which I'll touch on momentarily. And people always say to me when they see this, though, you're telling people that you're number one, but the big, and I'm fairly colorblind, so I'm going to take a punt and says that's purple. It says DocuSign, and they seem to be above you. Well, officially, we are above them, but the size of the circle is market share, and of course, DocuSign is an absolute behemoth in this industry, which makes them look a lot bigger on here than they are. But we are officially above them, and I'm quite happy to put that into writing. Lots of other e-signature providers you can see on here as well. Some you may recognise, some you might not recognise, but as you can see, they're all further down here. I won't mention any of them by name. You can make your own judgment call if any of those that you're using, whether you're happy with them or not. But to touch on what we do outside of e-signatures, we have our mail. As I said earlier, that was the first integrated product we have with Rentman, utilizing the e-signature element, but it was a little bit more labor intensive for the customers, which is why we upgraded that to the Rsign service. But there are some changes in your legislation, which I'll come to very briefly in a moment or two, where our mail, I think, is probably going to be of a bit more interest to you again. So we provide legal proof of email communication. So if you're sending an email to somebody and you need to prove that it's arrived with them, we give you that proof. A lot of people say to me, well, I can just take a screen grab of the sent items and on my email, and that proves I sent it. Yep, it proves you sent it, doesn't prove they received it. So if someone could turn around and say, well, I never got that email, you don't have the ability then to have that evidence or the audit trail. We also provide tamper-proof email records. So every time you send an email, we provide you with a receipt, and that receipt provides you with legal proof of when it was sent, when it was delivered, if it was opened or not. And we can actually also recreate the original email communication via the attachments on that receipt. Now, it's important to mention that we're not actually storing your emails. They travel through us. So we can't have a data breach because we don't have any data to breach. The actual email is recreated via the receipts which are provided to you. Okay, and we can see here at the bottom, ideal for notices, rent changes, compliance communications. You know your industry and your notices far better than I do. We also have Raptor AI. Now, this is something which I think for small to medium-sized organizations, it's becoming far more important to them in regards to cybersecurity. But what we're able to do, and this is a world-first technology, we can identify if a sent email has been accessed by a cyber criminal. So not necessarily maybe the landlords you're dealing with or the people moving into properties, but maybe more your partners and that you're working with. So maybe you're receiving invoices that you need to pay, and potentially you could be receiving fake invoices from a legitimate email address. Looking to provide some kind of imposter fraud against you. We identify that. So I'll inform you long before the risk comes your way that there is something suspicious potentially happening. If you do require information on that, quite happy to take you through that. And this is just very quickly, I want to show this, and it's not as fancy as our slides here, but these are just some information nuggets that were passed to me recently in regards to changes in your legislation. You can read these, so I'm not going to read these out to you. But one of the bits that's standing out here for me is serving notices via email. This is where our mail can come in and help you, giving you the legal proof of the email being received. In regards to digital records, we'll be giving you that with our mail receipts. So we can see here that including emails for your communication. If you're communicating rent increases, safety documents, landlords must provide tenants with a written statement of terms. And from the 1st of May, must be able to prove they have sent specific information through a digital record. That is what we do. So if this information is going to be going out and you need a record of who said what to who and when, you need us. So we'll be very keen to have a conversation with you on that. By all means, please reach out if you have any questions on that legislation. I'm sure Nigel is far more of an oracle on that side of things than myself. But in regards to email compliance and security, we'd be more than happy to help you. I've got my details here on the slide. Nigel, I'm sure you've got all his details memorized anyway, but I'm fairly new to some of you guys.
There's a question here from Richard Parker. I don't quite understand it. Richard, you say, unlike multi-user support within DocuSign, I'm not quite sure what you mean there, unless it's that each of your negotiators using Rentman want their own Rsign account, in which case it's not an Rsign problem. But okay, Richard, I'm going to allow you to talk so you can actually put some more flesh onto that.
Yes,
question.
please.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Nigel. I hope you can hear me. I'm Richard Parker from Parker's Lettings.
Hi there, Richard.
Hi, how are you doing? We formerly used DocuSign for a number of years before coming over to Rsign, which we're generally really happy with. It works nicely with Rentman. But one of the issues we have is that the other negotiators, if they send a document package to sign electronically, only myself as the person that owns the account can actually log into the account and see the progress of that transaction. Whereas with DocuSign previously, everyone could log in and have their own individual access to the documents they've sent personally.
And you don't want to share those Rsign login credentials around the office?
Well, it all comes back to my one email, you see. With my, my email is my username for at Rsign. So when we're getting updates, they come back to just me and not the respective negotiator.
Right. Okay. So I can definitely answer that question. So just make sure I understand it, Richard. So you send out a document to be signed to whoever, and when it's been signed and completed, you're receiving the notification saying it's been completed. But as the owner of the organization, you're on to the next job. You want members of your team to be notified that this document's been completed so they can crack on and take the next steps with the customer. Okay, well, so we can.
Sorry to interrupt you, David. If they do log into my account, they can only see the ones that I've sent. They can't see the ones that other people have sent necessarily.
Okay, so two things here. So first of all, in regards to the notification arriving in the inbox, we can set it up via the settings, and please reach out to me. I think I've got your account in front of me, so I'll reach out to you. But we can set it up so when the email arrives saying that the document has been completed, this is copied over to other users. For example, I can see you've got Catherine Kelly and Oliver who work with you, who have licenses. So we could copy them into it so everyone receives that email, or perhaps you've got a shared email which is just something like office@thecompany.com, and you can say whenever a document is completed, can you please copy a notification to that email so everyone can see it. We can do that. So we'll take that element of the conversation offline and we can fix that. But if you're talking about logging into Rsign, so let's say you've sent it and then Catherine wants to log in, she can't see what you've sent. What we could do is set the other users up as and yourself as admins, so you can all see everything that everyone else has sent. or just particular users can. But yeah, we can do that. I'll send you an email at the end of the session, and I'll get one of the team to get that set up for you.
If I
That'd
can
be
just
very
jump in
cool,
as
Dave,
well,
thank you.
I mean, that might solve the problem. If I can just take a little step backwards, I think part of the problem, I suspect, is that Rentman is set up to use just the one account. So regardless who in your team is actually initiating it from within Rentman, it always goes to your account, Richard, because that's the one that's set up in Rentman, not to their own separate accounts. Is that right?
Yes, the memory's a little bit vague, but when we were using DocuSign, the individual negotiators could log into the DocuSign platform and get updates on what they've sent. Whereas at the moment, they can't see what I've sent, for
Okay.
example.
Well, I think the issue is that Rentman is built at the moment, and now I can change that if there's demand. Rentman is set at the moment for a sort of a company-wide to use a company-wide account. There's just one account that everybody, all your negotiators use, and at the moment it sounds like it's set up to be your account. So the other people's account never gets touched by Rentman, and so none of the documents are never issued. As according to our sign, none of the other documents are ever issued by
Yeah,
them. They're always coming from you. Um, um, we can talk about that. We can talk about individuals having their own account separately. I think that comes with its own problems. If somebody's off sick and and some of their tenants are moving in.
yeah.
Um,
A simpler solution, as Dave mentioned earlier, was
but
possibly just
it's
administrative rights
so
to
that
the
everybody can see their own.
yeah.
But the question I'm going to ask you is, why do these other people need their own account?
Well,
If
they don't need their own
Redman's
account, but for
initiated
example,
everything,
if I send a tenancy document and a prospective tenant phones up and queries, where is it, and I haven't seen it, that negotiator can't log into the account to see what I've actually sent.
right? Okay, because they're not logging in as you, they're logging
Yeah,
in as them.
yeah,
Right. So okay, well then, if they have their own accounts within our sign, then those accounts need to be able to monitor each other.
yeah. They
That's
need to go to an
but,
administrative
but but
account.
but I would question why they need their own account in the first place.
No, I don't think they need their individual accounts, but I think they need to see what
Yeah.
the status of other sent documents are, whether they've been signed, looked at, viewed, or what it might be.
But I can resolve that for you from our side. I'll reach
Yeah,
out
thank
to you,
you.
Richard, and it's a
Fabulous.
fairly simple process. But in regards to what they can see via Rentman, I'll have to leave that one for Nigel to resolve. But yeah, I'll
Yeah,
reach out to you after this, and we'll get that
And,
sorted.
yeah.
and,
Thank
and
you.
if that's not smooth when it's done, Richard, get in touch with me and we'll talk about how Rentman perhaps needs to change how it works so that each sender sends under their own account. It can be done. I just didn't do it because it was always a one company account.
I understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
good
Thanks so
question
much.
though.
All right. Thank
It's
you.
one of those questions where, as you were asking it, I was really worried of whether I would know the answer or not. But luckily, I did. So yeah, good shout. Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, I think we've covered everything certainly that I wanted to say and David wanted to say. Just say thank you all very much for attending. If you're watching this on recording, you don't get to ask questions, so next time perhaps. Next month's webinar is almost certainly going to be about the new Renters' Rights Act. I should have the documents distributed to you by then, and we should know, we should have even updates for any changes to the workflow that are required. I would point you all in the last newsletter that was sent out last week. I mentioned that Training for Professionals are running webinars over the next few months. They're doing an online one on Monday, but they're all around the country in person throughout January, February, and March. I would urge everybody to attend if you haven't already. But I'm attending, and that will all find its way into Rentman, and Rentman will be updated and providing you with new documents well before the 1st of May. Okay, thank you all very much. I wish you goodbye.
Thank you very much for your time.
Bye now.